my idea is to give you maybe a few hints that can help you. And in your way of playing, I mean, the notes are there. You're practically mastering the movement. I don't see many memory slips or mistakes. I see that you follow the text quite well, but there's something that I lack. That is in your way of playing is that you're playing a little too safe in my opinion. Okay, I understand that, and I understand that to avoid the mistake, to avoid, but then at the same time that you're avoiding making a mistake, you're also avoiding to show your inner perception of the piece and understanding of the piece. So we'll try to do some experiments while performing, trying to ask you to do a little bit more contrast. Do you know anything about Beethoven's life and his relationship with the instrument?
I know that he was really like sick person.
Sick? In which sense?
Like psycho.
Yeah, we're all psycho. in our own way. Yeah. The thing is that, I mean, this was his main instrument. Other composers, their main instrument was not the piano, but in this case, this was his main instrument, and it was not this one. This is established instrument that from, let's say, 1870, 1880, has not changed a lot. But in the period where Beethoven was composing this music, the instrument would change like, I don't know, like a computer or a video game machine would change now, or even more than cars, let's say. It was a machine that was evolving, and every time he could get a new instrument, he would buy it. He would destroy the previous one by just practicing on it, and he would buy new instruments one time. And every time he could get, the range of the instrument before was not all these octaves. It was not 88 keys. It was shorter, and slowly there were more strings here, more strings there, stronger strings, and so he would evolve, his music would evolve at the same time all the instruments were also. And also at the same time that let's say like the mass production selling of music was also like editoriales, how would you say, publishers. Publishers will try to publish music and will try to sell more and more. And Beethoven would write sonatas like, I don't know, Appassionata or Waldstein Sonata. Do you know about them? So, more information that maybe I can give you a few hints later about it. But those were like very, very big sonatas, very, very difficult, very expensive to publish, and not sold a lot. Instead, he was asked also to write by publishers like Artaria. He was asked to write music that a lot of the people could buy. And this is part of them. This is a piece that has all this, let's say, tension and power and contrast from Beethoven, but that also was music that not a lot of people, but some people could buy and enjoy and perform at home. And that's very important in the production of Beethoven, also in his chamber music, also in the songs he wrote. He tried all the time to do like two things, do the music he wanted to write, and at the same time do something that he could publish and that people would enjoy. He had those two things all the time going on in the music he wrote. So, said that, important, and this is my advice, but every time you play something, listen a lot more than what you're playing. Yeah, have you heard versions, recordings of this? Do you remember any of the pianists you heard? Also, so again, that's important. You listen to some recordings, you try to remember which pianists you heard. But even more important than that, listen to a lot of other sonatas by Beethoven. Not only sonatas from that period. Do you know how many sonatas he wrote? Okay, he published 32. Okay, and he wrote many, many more. He improvised even more, but he published those 32. And apart from that, he wrote a lot of chamber music. A lot of chamber music that will give you a lot of information on this. And if you hear music by one of the people he called his teachers, Joseph Haydn, you would hear also trios, chamber music that have also this style, the same style of this sonata. So with all that information in mind, if you listen to the symphonies he wrote at that time, I think you're going to understand much more the music than with the tips I can give you in my class, or even with the tips that your regular teachers will give you. That part, it has to be constructed very slowly, but this knowledge of all the rest of the repertoire, all the culture, all the books that were written at that time, all the poetry that he read, his own letters, we can access to his letters now. I mean, all that information will help you more, in my opinion, long term, than if I tell you, you know, sforzando here is not enough sforzando. I'm sure that if you go, every time you have a concert, the symphony plays a Beethoven symphony, go to that concert and listen how the rest of the orchestra plays that sforzando in the music, and then try to transfer that to a piano. Try to think of him. People think that he was ill and he was deaf. Do you know that? Yeah. But do you know that he could hear his music?
Yeah.
Do you know how? No? So why do you know that he could hear his music if he was deaf?
I read about it somewhere.
But you forgot. Actually, for the public to know, he would cut he would take out the legs of the piano. The piano would stay on the ground, and he would have, his problem was in the outside ear, not in the inside. So he would have this wooden thing he would put here, and he would lay in the ground and start playing like this. So the vibration will get to his inner ear, and he could somehow listen to the music. I mean, that's how really English is difficult for me sometimes. Yeah, to find the right word. Yeah, so that's how devoted he was to the music he was writing. Yeah, he found a way. He was an amazing virtuoso at some point, and then he couldn't keep that career, but he could do it through composition. So, okay, I told you many things to tell you that the experiment I would like you to do is, I don't care if you make mistakes, but try your dynamic range to just try to make it a little bit more exaggerated, and let's see what happens. Okay, when he says forte at the beginning, let's try more forte. When he says piano here, your sound on the piano is very beautiful. I like it a lot. Most on this register, you did very beautiful things. So it's not that it's not good when you did it. It is good, but try to play even if you don't like that much the sound you make. It's okay. We'll work on that. Okay? Can you try? The piano register, the piano volume is good. What about this forte here?
I think it should be some less forte than.
Less forte than this one. I can agree with you, but should it be the same sound as here? Okay, can you play here? Can you play here now? So, because actually you were doing the same volume here and there. Now, when you realize it, you try to do it low, and then you can try at the beginning to be louder. So here you can be mezzo forte even if you go forte, and here you can stay with your piano. That is, it's okay. I don't think you should go lower than that volume. But maybe the beginning can be a bit louder. Can you try? Okay, Sophia, can you give me your left hand at the beginning? Is that forte? Okay, I understand this is, yeah, you, correct me if I'm wrong, that you think that this is the melody and this is the accompaniment, so the accompaniment shouldn't be louder than this. But why, let me try a little bit, if I may play a little bit, okay? If you do this, you will need more sound here. If your sound is like this, you probably won't like it because this will probably be too loud. But why don't you use more of this part of your right hand and less of this? Not. Okay, instead of that, try more of this. Can you try? Okay, that's better. One thing that I think it's not helping you is the fact that, in my opinion, your wrist is probably too tense. Not very tense, but you don't use it very much. Like this, in your technique, is not very much used. I'm not talking of this. This stays. The bridge stays. But this, you can use it a bit. We're not going to change technique in a master class, but I just want you to realize that if you have a really big hand, you can really play very well with this hand. But I think you're not using this too much. And so one thing, as I said, this is nothing that you are going to change practicing after this master class. It's just things to think about. That if you keep, you do this, you can play louder in strings that are a little longer and thicker. That's it. Okay, and now, at the same time you're moving this, and you're moving this, why don't you also move your finger? I mean, sometimes when we jump with our hand, this is something general that it will happen. When we have jumps, when we have chords, we forget that also there we need to articulate. It's not that when we articulate and we have, we don't, we do articulate. I actually do this, and at the same time, I do this. It is two movements that are happening at the same time, okay? That's it. And can you try it from a little farther, not your fingers, but the rest of your arm, a little farther. Okay, and one last thing about technique. I see that you're kind of like laying down here. It is not that your back should go there. It's more than from here, like feeling all the weight of your body in your feet should go to your finger. So your whole body goes into the keyboard. Can you try that? Just the right hand, just the right hand. Okay, and try this idea of all your body in. Okay, and let's do another game, another exercise. Can you stand up? Like if you were a rock performer and you do this. Try that. But you're taller and your hand is bigger than mine. You should play loud. Okay, instead of going there, just in. Okay, can you try now while you play? And think of a louder sound, louder. It's okay, we can make noise, nobody's listening to us. That's good. You don't like that sound?
No,
It's fine? You like, because I like it. I like it. But if you don't like it, you shouldn't do it. But what I mean is that actually this sound is much more powerful. Why if you add your left hand now, but try this same idea of your whole body weight onto the keyboard. Think of Beethoven trying to have the biggest sound possible, trying to get money, to get orchestras not of 12, 14 musicians that were the orchestras at that time. But let's say, okay, I'll go to 25 musicians, 30 musicians, 35 musicians, 90 musicians, you know, and a choir too. I mean, all his life he was trying to do this with his music. So even in this sonata, he's showing a lot of people that he wants music that sounds. Okay, and now a little bit more left hand. I don't think it's going to bother. Yes. Okay, and keep the forte. Keep the forte. It doesn't say piano there. Okay, and okay, yes, I can understand that you want lower here, but let's think on an orchestra. Another thing that Beethoven did a lot is trying things on the piano, and then exactly the same things will go to the chamber music groups, and exactly the same material will go to his orchestral music. So it means liking highly music. It's not music thought on the piano that sounds like a piano. There's a lot of symphonic imagination in his music. So think that this is violin, this is second violin, this is violas. They usually have the hardest part, and with their big instrument it's harder for the fingers, but they get the hard part. And here you have cello and contrabass. So do you really think that if a violin in an orchestra is doing a group of violins, and or the second violins are joining here, the others will do, or the cello we're gonna do. No, it's their moment. Okay, so try to give all the voices a loud sound. Let's try. Okay, now you did forte, but it was kind of like an accent. May I try? Like when you do it, it's not that to give an accent here. This can be softer. When you do the octaves here, ta, 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 pam, pam, pam. At the same time, you make the placement of your hand. At the same time, you have this, and at the same time, you have this. And that will give you the right sound with all the harmonics and all the vibration of the instrument when you do. Can you try? Yes. Okay, something about technique that may help you. If you're playing on the white keys and then you go to the black keys, you don't need to do inside. If probably you know of, or the rest of the people know of this Beethoven sonata. Yeah. Beethoven was very much into the black keys in his way of writing. Opus 110. Even when he does one octave higher, but when he does Opus 53, Waldstein, he's all the time in here. Yeah? So I don't think you should, this is not consistent with his technique. It's something that Chopin later will take from Beethoven music to his own music. This idea of all that Chopin being inside with the thumbs in the black keys to make vibrate the instrument to have a round sound.